Do it again for everybody who missed it. Kevin has been a leader in this company ever since I came aboard. The first time I ever saw Kevin, he was giving a presentation showing a bunch of pictures of him doing like karate kicks and like breaking boards and stuff, and I was like, well, that guy's kind of cool, I guess. So he and I have actually been really close ever since then. We spent a lot of time running ideas past each other. He's got his presentation ready, so listen to him. All right.
All right. And I am in absolutely no hurry. Everything is slower here in the South. So, so before I kind of dive into this, you know, last July, obviously is when we merged with Mattress Firm. And when we went out to dinner, one of the things I heard a lot of was, is this going to change our culture as custom fundraising solutions? And culture is very, very important here because, you know, what is our culture? Really, I guess I'll answer that question first. So we honestly have a huge culture of giving. You know, not only giving to schools, obviously the $30 million and all that stuff, but giving to each other. And this whole conference, we're giving you new ideas. And, you know, worrying about the culture changing is silly because it's not going anywhere. You know, think about when you first start in this business, especially you new guys, Tom literally does the cold calls for you. He gives you the script so you can do that. And then what happens? After you set appointments, Joe flies halfway across the country, does your first appointments for you, books sales for you. Then what happens? Me and Chris pick up the phone and teach you how to say every single word specifically for your launch meeting, parent meeting, all these different things. Then what happens? Somebody else flies halfway across the country and does your sale for you. There's not another business in the whole world that I can foresee that has step-by-step processes like that we just give you the entire blueprint. Okay? And that is our culture. But what happens is you get to a certain point in this business where you don't have people flying out to your events anymore. And you don't have Tom calling you every week to set up your LLC because all that stuff's done. You're at the end of the training manual. So you get to the point where it's like, what's next, right? So how do you continually grow and educate yourself? And that's why the theme of the conference is always a student, because you're going to get to the point where it's on you and you have to be the one driving your business, putting your business on your shoulders and saying, all right, let's go. I want what Andrew Owings has in his business, or Steve Mills, or whoever, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So the first thing I want to bring up, when are we most excited about our business? Can I pull this back? Okay, cool. When are we most excited about our business? It's a rhetorical question. I don't need answers here. But in my opinion, I mean, Joe just kind of said it, right after the conference, right? Because we have the smartest people up here giving their best ideas. Hopefully you're grabbing tons of notes. Okay, I guess I'll pause and say, if you haven't filled out your to-do list yet, pull that out and make sure you're filling it out so you can give it to your manager at the end of the conference. Do that. If you aren't sitting here right now with a pen and pencil in your hand, or a pad and pen or whatever, make sure you're grabbing notes, okay? But I will say that the only time we have these conferences is 3 days in January and 3 days in July. So I know how excited people get, and we have tons of management calls with people, and they always talk about how they got all these plans for their business, and they're gonna grow and do all these things, and then usually what happens, like Joe said, is all of a sudden, all this water's coming out and you're trying to drink, okay? Or it's like you're jumping onto a treadmill and it's going full speed. You don't have time to warm up and get into it. I mean, you got a business to run, okay? So those notes go from your desk to the floor, to the drawer, and then you end up doing the same stuff you've been doing, okay? So hopefully, I'm gonna give you some tips and tools and things to kind of get out of those habits, okay? And get into better ones so you can grow your business. So the next thing is, how do we keep that excitement going? Because obviously everybody leaves the conference and they're super excited about what could be in their business and all these new products and things like that. So how do we keep that excitement? One thing I have done that we recommended about a year ago, it's probably maybe 2 years ago now, is go to somebody else's event. How many people in here over the past 12 months, not on a field visit, have honestly gone to somebody else's event? Raise your hand. Okay, handful of people. Probably less than half though. Okay, so to vet out probably the biggest excuse is I don't have any time. In the past 12 months, personally, I've run over 50 events, and I've been to events in Memphis, Charlotte, and Dallas. And I went to open up Steve Reed in Memphis, but at the same time, when I was at his event, I didn't expect to learn much. I was going to be the one teaching him, right? But we sold 21 mattresses and like 10 adjustable bases that day. And the attachment rate was like through the roof. So all of a sudden, I'm taking notes like, wow, this is a great idea. Why aren't we doing this in Columbus? You just learn things when you're on site that you can't learn from a phone call or an email or things like that. When I went to the event in Charlotte, okay, number one, I just wanted to see Mark Irvin do his Mark Irvin thing when he was still there. Okay, but number two, I wanted to see how he does his setup and teardown with his trailer. And it seems silly to fly all the way to Charlotte just to see how somebody does setup and teardown with a trailer. But I own a trailer now, and I'm saving probably $20,000 on my setup and teardown because I learned on that trip. Okay. The other thing is I went to Dallas just a couple of months ago to the Allen High School sale. I wanted to see how Steve Mills does his events. Okay, I'd been to one of his, but I wanted to see how he does financing. So I have been previously doing everything on a laptop. And whether it was POS or financing or whatever, I was putting everything in the same place and just didn't work. So I learned how to split my financing table, put it over there, and have a dedicated finance person. I learned these things from traveling and going on site. So if you do anything in the near future, if you want to just think out of the box, go to somebody else's event. Go to a top 10 dealer's event. You have a weekend available. If you make it important, you'll find time to do it. Okay? And believe me, we take plenty of vacations too. Okay? Also in the past 12 months, we've spent a week in Belize. We went to Rome for 8 days just a couple of weeks ago. We went to Florida for 4 days, and then we spent a week on a cruise. And then I raised my baby for 15, 20 minutes a day sometimes. So again, what is the biggest resource in this business? The people in this room. The people around you are the biggest resource in this business. Okay, there's people in this room that have been around for 10 years doing mattress fundraisers. Okay, maybe the person sitting next to you is somebody you met in foundations. That's great to have them as a friend, but they don't really know any more than you do yet, right? So talk to the people in this room. Okay, this sounds so easy, but pick up the phone and call somebody. All right, and call somebody that has experience. I call the people that I look up to in this business. I talk to Andrew all the time. I talk to Bert, Chris, tons of people. Okay, pick up the phone and use the resources that are there. Okay, so transitioning into kind of the title of the speech here, what is a student? And I looked up the definition, and I got two different definitions here. So the first one is a person formally engaged in learning, especially one enrolled in a college or pupil. Okay, the second one is any person who studies, investigates, or examines thoughtfully. Are you, really think about it for a second, are you a student of your business? Are you a person formally engaged in learning, or are you somebody that's formerly engaged in learning? Think about that. I was practicing my speech, and I read this out loud. A person formerly, and then I kind of thought about it. Are you formerly engaged in learning or formally engaged in learning? I can't answer that. You have to answer that for yourself. And then the second definition I really like, somebody who studies, investigates, and examines thoughtfully. Do you really do that with your events? If your stats are not in, you probably don't. Okay, and then also, examining your business does not mean, oh, we just couldn't get anyone to the parent meeting. Okay, well, why? Did you send the letter or did you not? Did you try to do it a different way or did you not? Did you just say you're okay with having 10 people show up? That's what being a student of your business means, is looking at it on a micro level and what little nuggets you can pull out of this conference and from other people to get better at. Okay, so this is also a student. This is me when I was 7. Okay, everybody always asks about my Taekwondo background, and that was basically my experience coming into this business, but that is the first belt that you have to earn. Your yellow belt in our style of Taekwondo is the first belt you earn. So the history of the colors, to give it to you briefly, is you start off with basically a white piece of cloth, and this is like 1,000 years old, doing it in a basement with, you know, your dad teaching you. And then once you get it a little sweaty, that piece of cloth turns what color? Yellow. Okay, get a little bit of blood on it, turns maybe orange. Get some grass stains on it, green. So that's kind of how the colors came to be. And then, you know, everybody asks, oh, black belt, you're a black belt, wow. Black belt means master of the basics, okay? It does not mean master of everything, all right? Master of the basics. It takes 3 years to get your black belt in our style. How many people have been in this business 3 years or more? Raise your hand. 3 years or more. Congratulations, you are a master of the basics. Keep that in perspective, okay? Because I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So I mentioned earlier, pick up the phone and call people. Who are you going to call? Let's talk about that. Joe, Bert, and Tom have 10, maybe more than 10 years in this business. They would be probably about a 4th degree black belt, okay, in Taekwondo terms. All right? Michael Logue, I call him probably 2 or 3 times a week. I think sometimes he pushes me to voicemail because he's tired of hearing of me. 8 years or so in CFS, he'd be about a 3rd degree senior. That's one level before you get to 4th degree, okay? Again, if I want to be a good martial artist, those are the kind of people I'm going to talk to, okay? Charlie came in a little bit before me. He'd be about a 3rd degree black belt. Now, the next one is fun. Your friends and your spouse. They would be probably a white belt because they don't know what the hell they're talking about, okay? Let me tell you a story about my wife. And if she was here, I would tell the story the exact same way. She told me a couple times with our first 6 sales, not even being over 22 mattresses, first 6 events, she said, you know, you really don't have a lot of experience doing sales, so maybe this just isn't right for you. You know, maybe this just not right. And we were driving home from selling 8 that day, and it kind of made me think about it. Maybe this isn't right for me, you know? So I was listening to somebody that had no CFS experience, okay? Your spouses are great, okay? Your parents, especially us young guys, are great, but they need to be encouraging more than, hey, I don't think this is for you, okay? But this year, making $250,000 is definitely for me. I'll tell you that right now, okay? Now, the next one is fun too. Former dealer from your territory, X number of years in CFS, they would probably be an ex-student, somebody that quit Taekwondo. If I want to be a better martial artist, am I going to talk to somebody that quit? No. Okay? I'm in a territory that had a former dealer. The only exchange we ever had was, here's the schools I worked with. Hi, my name's Phil. That was about it. Because he is not with CFS for some reason. I don't need to know what it is, but I'm going to talk to people that have experience. Charlie, Michael, Bert, Joe, Steve, whoever. Those are the people I'm going to listen to, not the guy that quit. So if you're in a territory that was previously established, talk to the people that are still rocking, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, we're going to have a rough segue into books. Books are a great way to get yourself in a good mindset, okay? However, I have never read a book and all of a sudden 30 more people walk through my mattress showroom, okay? Walk through the doors on a mattress day. So keep that in mind. But the book I want to talk about, if you want to write this down, is Who Moved My Cheese, okay? How many people have ever read this book in here? Anybody? Okay. Read it again, because just like The Miracle Morning, okay, it's a short book. There's really big print. There's pictures. I read it in an hour sitting on a hammock the other day, okay, for probably the 2nd or 3rd time. But this book, spoiler alert if you haven't read it, it's a very metaphorical book, okay? There's 4 characters in the book. There's 2 mice and 2 people. And their goal every day is to go to what they call a cheese station and get cheese. Now, you can take it literal or as a metaphor, but they live in a maze. Every day they go to the same place, okay? Every day the mice run to it, and the people at first run, but then they jog, and then they walk, because it's a little easier, you know? Then they don't even bring their running shoes. They're like, what's the hurry? We're going to the same place. They don't really realize, neither of them, that the cheese is just going to run out, okay, until it's all the way gone already, okay? And then the mice say, well, we need to find some damn cheese. So they just run back into the maze and go find a new cheese station, okay? Now again, I know cheese station sounds goofy or whatever, but they don't think. They just turn around and go, okay? The 2 people say, somebody moved it. I come here every day. My cheese was here. What the hell? It doesn't just run out. I was here. The cheese was here. We're not going to go look. I don't want to go back into the maze. It's here. It's going to be here. We're just going to come back tomorrow. It's going to be here. They're stubborn. Their names are Hem and Haw, okay? It's true. How does this relate to CFS? I want you to think about your staff for a minute, especially those of us that are masters of the basics, okay, that have all the experience in this business. All right? Maybe the greeting from your staff used to be great to customers. They went through the whole thing. You know, Michael Davio talks about taking 2 minutes to talk about nothing that has to do with mattresses just to build rapport with people. Maybe now it's, hey, welcome to the showroom. This is firm, this is soft, here's our premiums. Let us know if you have questions. That's not our greeting, okay? They need to stay sharp, all right? They used to put everybody on adjustable bases. Now it's just the people that kind of ask about it. Every sale you had 6 staff members. Now you only use maybe 3 or 4 because it's like, it's not worth paying for extra people, right? You can handle the traffic. You can go back and forth with 2 people. You can kind of manage that, right? Wrong. How about your event groups, okay? I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, especially in year 3, 4, 5, and beyond. You used to get 75 or more parents to the meeting. Now it's only like 15 or 20, but you kind of think in the back of your head, well, I mean, they've done it before, so the parents, they'll pick it up. You know, they'll get it, right? You know, you used to have a lot of kids the day of the sale. Now it's only a couple that maybe show up to hold signs. You know, is this ringing a bell with anybody? Maybe? Okay, you used to sell 40. Year 2, maybe you went down to like 30. Year 3, it's 24. Year 4, it's 18. But you don't really want to drop them because then it's a lot of work to, you know, find a new group at the school, right? Ringing a bell with anybody? Okay. Your cheese is shrinking. That is what this is all about, okay? You used to have this great place you could go and find all this cheese or all these mattress sales, okay? And all of a sudden it's shrinking. And it's shrinking, and it's shrinking. And you're really not doing anything about it, and you're still kind of making money, but you just don't want to deal with having to go back into the maze, okay? So what is the maze in this story? Let's talk about that. The maze is the fear of starting over, or starting new, or booking a new school, okay? The maze is cold calls. The maze is drop-bys. The maze is hiring new staff because your old staff, they don't do the greeting well anymore. They don't care enough to do it. Okay, or you just haven't retrained them to do it. The maze is changing your logistics companies even though you hate the way your logistics are set up. But it kind of works, so you're just going to let it ride. Okay? Fear of a no, so you don't even try. Now, what is the cheese? Okay, let's talk about that real quick. More events, new sponsors, more money, better staff, smoother, maybe more cost-effective logistics. But to get there, you have to go back into the maze. You have to go back into the maze, okay? Do not be afraid of the maze. That is the moral of this entire story, because if you want to continuously grow your business and be a student of your business, that doesn't just stop when you all of a sudden get to year 3 or 4, okay? The people that continuously grow every single year, okay, the Andrew Owings and the Steve Mills and the people that are at the tippy top of this business take little things here and little things there, and maybe it's a little bit of hard work, but oh darn, you're a business owner. That's what you have to do, okay, to grow your business. Or your business is going to deliver a swift kick to your head, okay? And that's probably more a kick to your bank account than anything, okay? Now, just to kind of not necessarily sum up, but I wanted to show you how my business has evolved over the years. So 2014, we were averaging 24.6 mattresses at a whopping $731 average ticket. We ran 32 events, okay? Now, since we're low on time, let's fast forward down to 2018. We've already done 31 events this year. We have 58 scheduled. We've done 992,000 retail, pretty much made the trip already. We're doing 30 mattresses, and our average ticket is still below the company average, but every year you can see it's improved, okay? My goal is to get it above the company average, all right? So, again, really in conclusion, do not be afraid of the maze, okay? Because it is going to lead you to a bigger business, a smoother business, where you can take time and be away from your business, and it's going to be an incredible experience, okay? So let's be students of our business this entire time and go home and improve, okay? Thank you very much.